What's going on, guys? So I'm back here with another Sunday watch list. As always, we start off with SPY. But we do have a pretty big week this week, right? We have FOMC coming up. We have a lot of big companies reporting earnings. We're going to cover all of that. But as always, let's start off with SPY, right? So as you guys can see, my game plan is going to be pretty simple overall. We have failed to go higher around this 455 level, which is a lower high, right? We did have a bearish divergence on the daily time frame last week. A bearish divergence is when the stock makes a higher high, and the MACD and the RSI make a lower high. As you guys can see here, we have a lower high here. I believe it's also on the 4 hour, if I'm not mistaken. Right, the RSI made a lower high, and so that's what a bearish divergence is. And for the most part, this is my analysis, right? So on the daily chart, you guys can see this is an inside bar because it is inside this previous candle. The low of this candle is 451.48, and the high of that candle is 455. If you guys notice that 455 level, it did get used as a rejection level multiple times. Even if I go to a smaller time frame, you guys will see how many times that 455 level got respected. So once, twice, and then above as it bounced above it and then rejected at it. So that's a key level I'm going to pay attention to, 455, for either reject or break and retest back up to 456.4. And for the downside, I'm going to be paying attention to this recent low, which is going to be the low of that daily candle, 451.48. Go back to the hourly. Below 451.48, we have room to 450. Now, this is the main setup, right? If we get to 450, we have the daily 90 MA at 450. And, this was a previous area where buyers stepped in aggressively from. Look at the reaction we got off of 450. Last time we got a big move up, right? So that is an area where I will most likely, depending on price action, be buying calls. And it's all depending on price action. So that's definitely a bounce level I will be paying attention to. Now, if we get weak and we break that level, that is a great setup for a short into 448. So that is my analysis on SPY. Keep it simple, right? Note how I paid attention to key levels, 455 and 451.48, right? Anything in between the range, I didn't really fully make a game plan for it because I'm not too interested in it, right? I want to trade levels that I know could have a reaction off of, right? So that is my game plan. QQ, try to keep it simple as well. If I go to the 4 hour time frame, you guys will see we broke through recent structure. There's 378. Notice how it was a balance level back here. When we were above it, we were trying to hold above it. And we broke back below it. We retested 380, and now we're holding below that 378. So this 375 is Friday's low. So I'll be paying attention below 375 for a push down into this 373. As you guys can see, that was the recent high over here. And we bounced over here. So a potential relief bounce in this area is definitely possible. I'll be paying attention to that. Or a reject at 378 looks good as well, right? This 378 level where it was recently bounced. Now we're below it. That is a level I'll pay attention to. Now for the upside, if we reclaim this 380, that is where I'll be paying attention to for longs. We reclaim 380, we get a push back up into 383, 384, and above 384, back up to 388 really. So that is my game plan for SPY and Qs. I want to keep it very, very simple. This watches can change multiple times this week because, if one of these companies report earnings, it'll put these charts in completely different places than they are right now, right? So the companies that are reporting earnings are Amazon's not reporting till August 3rd, Apple August 3rd, but this week we got Microsoft July 25th, big company, right? Meta July 26th, big company. AMD's not till August, right? Google July 25th, and a lot of these dividends, AT&T, Verizon, Enphase, and Boeing. So these are some of the big names that are reporting this week. Definitely pay attention to the Microsoft and Meta because those have the ability to move the market, right? SPY and Qs hold those tickers, a big percentage of those tickers. So those are definitely market movers. And we also have FOMC on Wednesday, right? Yep, we got FOMC Wednesday, definitely a market mover. And we have PCE, core PCE on Friday, and we have GDP on Thursday. Those are right. This week's gonna be all over the place. The watches can change multiple times, but as long as you pay attention to key levels, you can have a game plan regardless. Individual tickers. I'll start from my favorite to least favorite. Meta is my favorite so far. We broke back below this 300. If we can come back and retest 300, we can take a reject off of it back down to these recent lows. Now, this area is a bounce level as well. This 290. Let's say we don't get to 300 if we just continue to fall. If this level starts to base out, this 289, this could be a nice bounce level to get a push back up into 300. Or if we break above 300 and retest, that's a nice move back up into 304. I have multiple scenarios, so I'm ready for everything, for any scenario that could happen, basically. And if we break below this 288, we got to move down to 284. It all depends on price action. That's what it comes down to, right? How do we react at the key levels? We know that 300 is a key level. We know that 289 is a key level. We just got to see how we react off of those levels in order for us to make the decision if we're either going to take a bounce or a break and retest, right? We let the price action show us what we're going to do, right? So that's for Meta. Amazon, we just broke back below this recent structure at, right? Notice how this was a big supply. We were failing to break above it. We finally broke above it, came back, retested, made a move back up into this zone. Now we're back below it. So notice how what happens when we get back below it. We make a push down to 127, right? So if we can continue to reject that 131, we get a push back down to 127. Or if we reclaim it, right, we can get a push back to the upside. For the most part, a lot of these tickers are getting a pullback, so that's a reject level I'll pay attention to for pushback down to these levels. Notice how we bounce off these lows multiple times as well. And Microsoft, notice how Microsoft is at a key level right now. Notice how Microsoft rejected this level multiple times. It's 343 back here, once, twice, three, four. But when we finally broke above it, look how we bounced very, very aggressively off of it, right? And we got a push and we broke through the all-time highs, right? Microsoft broke through all-time highs off this level, so we know this is an aggressive level where buyers are at. Friday, we wicked below it and we reclaimed it. So we're above it as of right now, right? So there's multiple scenarios here, right? So if this level starts to hold, we can push it back up into the 350s. But the break and retest below that level could be a nice move down into this recent support here at 338, basically. So that's my game plan for those. Which other one did I have on watch? But yeah, I had Netflix. Netflix looks solid as well. I'm gonna keep it pretty short because, like I said, the watches can change multiple times. 431. This was a recent bounce level, and we have finally broke back below it. Notice the trend line broke. This was on the watch list last week, if you guys remember. If we broke through this trend line, we could push down to 431, which played out perfect. Last week's watch list was on point. But yeah, if we can get a retest of 431, we get a push back down into this 420 to 418 level. So that's definitely on watch as well. As far as individual other sectors that are very, very strong, we have the healthcare sector that is really, really strong. J&J, I like if it holds 170. It's an hourly bull flag. If this can hold 170, I'd keep stop losses below like this area. And I'd try to target the recent high up here and then 172 because that's really where it has room to. This is like an hourly bull flag. The healthcare sector is strong, and the next resistance is up here at 172. So that could be strong, right? Pfizer is strong right now. Notice how Pfizer just broke out of a recent resistance at 37. So if this can come back and retest this zone right here, this is a good bounce area for Pfizer for a push back up into this area and potentially these. Oh, on the daily chart, it has a gap fill, right? So it has a gap fill up to 38.27. So Pfizer don't look bad at all, right? If it gets a nice retest of 37, that looks great. But yeah, that's the healthcare sector, right? The healthcare sector is showing a little bit more strength. So, we could pay attention to that as well. But other than that, that's going to be the Sunday watch list. Let me keep it pretty short overall. I always just keep eye on SPY and Qs and make sure to get my key levels on those first. But yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed and let's have a great week.